kind of like live with her to take care of her, and audience member. Hi, I'm Dabby, but you can call me Dabz. So today I'm doing a book haul, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 books here to introduce to you guys, and I just got a lot of these books. Well, I got a lot of them like a while before I filmed this, and then, are you serious? This always happens. Okay. So, I got a couple of these books like way before I filmed this video, and a couple of them I got like yesterday or like 2 days ago. So, it's from all over the place, but none of you guys know that I got these books. So, I can use them for a haul. So, I have 8 books, and I know about some of them, and some of them I'm not 100% sure about, but I'm basically going to introduce them to you guys so that you guys can maybe get them if they sound interesting, or like check them out. So the first book that I have is King Sejong the Great by Joe Minosky, and this book is about the Korean alphabet, or Hangul, and this book is basically kind of like a fantasy-ish, also like historical fiction. So it tells you the history of how the Korean alphabet was made, but it also has like a kind of fantasy twist to it. And this book is about King Sejong, and back then the Korean language was written in Hanja, which is the Chinese alphabet, and Hanja was very hard, and especially like back then a lot of Korean people couldn't read or write Hanja. So King Sejong created Hangul, which is the Korean language, and it's very easy to learn and write and read, and it's like very simple lettering, and it's just really like easy to learn. So if you guys want to learn Korean, then you should start with the alphabet. Yeah. Also, the author of this book is also the author of Star Trek, and I think the story was that he like found out about this story, the story of King Sejong, and he thought it was such like an amazing story, and like it was just so interesting that a king had created a language for his people that he had to write about it. So in the prologue of this book, it says, Sejong's creation had become something of a compulsion for me, and my estimation of a king something like hero worship. I wanted to retell the story of his alphabet myself in English for anybody who had not heard it, which pretty much meant anybody outside of Korea. Those events which appear officially in the annals of Joseon Dynasty also leave much unrecorded, and so Sejong and his accomplishments have been portrayed on multiple occasions in Korean fiction, by way of different genres: historical drama, soap opera, murder mystery, and even romantic comedy. So obviously I can't take in like details of this story as actual real historical fiction or like history, since it has like a fantasy kind of retelling to it. But I can get like the gist of what happened in like the actual event. So this book also came with bookmarks, and they're really cute. So they're like, these two are the same except in red and green. So I am planning to read this book soon. I'm reading a different book right now, but as soon as I can get to it, I want to read it because it sounds really interesting, and especially because I like historical fictions. They're not like my favorite genre, but I do like them because, especially if they're done well, because I get to learn about a historical event while still having fun reading something. So I think this book is going to be really interesting, especially with like the fantasy kind of like twist that it's apparently supposed to have, and I'm excited for it. So the next book is When You Trap a Tiger by Tae Keller. And this book is about the main character and her grandma, or in Korean, her halmoni. And her halmoni is sick, so her and her family go to kind of like live with her to take care of her. And her halmoni tells the main character a lot of stories about tigers. It's kind of fantasy too. And a tiger from her grandma's stories like kind of is brought to life. And apparently her Harmony stole something from the tiger, and the tiger makes a deal with the main character saying that if you return what your grandma stole from me, I will give your grandma good health. And this book, the author is like part Korean. It's kind of based off of the tiger stories that her grandma would tell her. And her mom is also an author. I'm not 100% sure, but I hope that there's going to be like Korean folklore in here and like folk tales, because I really liked, for example, Dragon Pearl was interesting, and it wasn't one of my favorite books, but one of the reasons I enjoyed it was because of the Korean like folk tales that were in there. So I do hope that it's in here. Yeah, I'm excited for this book. This book also won the Newbery Medal in this year, 2021. And so because of that, it's supposed to be a good book, which means that I am even more excited for it.
Bonk.
So the next book is Circe, I think it's pronounced Circe, by Madeline Miller. And this book is a Greek mythology and like ancient mythology based book. And I think it's mostly based around Greek mythology. And recently, one of my friends has been interested in Greek mythology, which makes me interested in Greek mythology. I'm not like super interested in it, but it is something that I think is intriguing and like something that would be fun to learn about, even though it might not be like super useful. So yeah, this book is about the daughter of Helios, Circe. And Circe appears to not have any like cool powers. She's not like powerful like her dad or her like parents. But later on, she finds out that she actually does have a power, and she has the power of witchcraft. And she can basically like transform rivals into monsters. She can even not, I wouldn't say overpower, but kind of overpower the gods themselves. And Zeus feels threatened by this and sends her to a deserted island. And from there, I don't know how the story goes from there very much because I haven't read it yet. But I think from that deserted island, she kind of grows and improves her skills and powers, and then stuff happens. I think that Circe is a character in the Odyssey, which is a very famous Greek tale. So this book is a retelling. It's not a completely like new story with Greek characters. It's a retelling of something in Greek mythology, and I think that it's going to be very interesting because original Greek mythology is very interesting, but it can get kind of boring because there's no like fiction, like action that's in modern day books. So I think this retelling will be good, and also because I've seen a lot of people say that it's good, so and like the reviews of it are really good. So I hope that I'll enjoy this book. I think I will enjoy this book. So the next book is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. And this book is a really popular book because I've seen it on a lot of booktube channels, and so that's what made me want to get it. Also because right now I really want to read like a good YA book. So I saw this one and I decided to read it. But in this book is about Matteo and Rufus. And in the universe of this story, there's this thing called Deathcast. When they call you, they will tell you that like this is your last day to live, basically. So Deathcast calls both Matteo and Rufus and is like, you're gonna die. Spend this last day well, which is kind of scary. There's also, in this universe, there's this app called Last Friend, and Rufus and Matteo match, and it's about them having adventures and spending their last day alive together and making a new friend and basically trying to fill up an entire lifetime in one day. And I feel like it's going to be really sad. So I don't know if I'm prepared to read this book, but it just sounds so intriguing and sounds so good. And I've heard amazing things about it, so I'm really excited to read it. The next book on our list is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. This is the third book of the Arc of a Scythe trilogy, and I have the other two books here, Scythe and Thunderhead. I recently finished the book Thunderhead, so I was like, this series is really good so far, and I want to read The Toll. I have no idea what this is about. I'm gonna guess that it's what happens like after Thunderhead because it's a sequel, but I haven't read it, and I haven't read any of like the like the back blurb or the prologue, if there even is a prologue or anything like that. So I have no idea except that it's in this universe. Also, it's like really thick. It's almost 600 pages. Like compared to these, which are still really pretty long, but like they're thinner. Another thing I want to add is the covers of these books. I like Scythe the best. But I do think it's really satisfying that I have all three. Like, look at that. I don't know how soon I'm going to read The Toll. I want to read it soon because I just finished Thunderhead, so I don't want to like forget what happened in the last book before reading it. But I also have a lot of books that I want to read like soon and quicker, so I don't know when I'll end up reading it. But when I do, I hope I will do a book review on it. Bonk. The next book is Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon. And before I tell you what this book is about, actually, I don't know what this book is about. Basically, the only reason that I got it was because it's by David Yoon, who wrote Frankly in Love. And David Yoon is also the husband of Nicola Yoon, who wrote The Sun Is Also a Star and Everything Everything. I still haven't finished Everything, but The Sun Is Also a Star was really good, and Frankly in Love was good. So I hope this book will be good because it's a YA and the cover looks cool. It's like very poppy, and I know don't judge a book by its cover, but too bad I'm judging the book by its cover. I'm guessing it's going to be something about like singing or like a band or something, because this is a guitar pick and this guy is holding a guitar. So I think that's going to be an aspect in it. I don't know. I'm excited to read this book though. It just seems fun, and I know that David Yoon is a pretty good author, so. Bonk. If you guys have read this book, tell me what it's about. The next book is Educated by Tara Westover, and basically it's about the author, and the author has a very like in the book it describes it as survivalist Mormon family, or in the description, and basically she can't get like a very good education or like a formal traditional education. So what she has to do is she has to teach herself, and she teaches herself as well as she can to the point where she can go to university and she can learn about a lot of different things, including historical events that she's never even heard of before. And this book is, oh my god, finalist for the National Book Critics Circle, John Leonard Award for the Best First Book, finalist for the that's all of the awards and finalists, by the way. But I saw this book on BookTuber, a couple BookTuber channels, and I saw that the reviews were really good, and so I decided to get it. So this is another one of those books where I don't know how soon I'm going to be able to read it, because I have so many other books that I'm planning to read, but when I do, I will definitely do a book review on it, because this just seems like one of those books that everyone should try and read at some point, because it's like inspiring and powerful. So when I do, I'll do a book review on it, so stay tuned for that if you want to see it. So the last book that I have is the psychology book, Big Ideas Simply Explained. The reason I got this book is because psychology is something that I've been really interested in recently. And this book, basically, it's psychology, but it's good for like teenagers because it explains like very difficult, complicated topics really well. And I also saw this cover and like all of these things, and I read them and they were interesting. And it does, like, I started reading this book, and it really does explain like ideas that in like a school textbook, for example, might be complicated. Because this book is really good so far, I might end up getting the physiology or sociology version of this book. So if you guys are interested or want to learn more about psychology, this is a good book for you guys to start off with, I think, in my opinion. Yeah. So that's the end of my haul, and if you guys want to see book reviews for any of these books in specific, then comment them down below, and I'll try to make sure I do book reviews on those specifically. But like the ones I mentioned that I'm going to do a review on, I definitely am, or not definitely, but probably. I hope that you guys kind of learned about some new, or were introduced to some new books, and I hope you guys might check some of them out and enjoy them. Yeah. Bonk. If you guys like this video, then like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy reading! Oh, this is satisfying. I have all of them. Okay. I have no idea what it's going to be about because at the... Oh, I almost just said what the end of Thunderhead is. I can't say that. Let me restart. Hi, I'm Dabz. Nah, that was so awkward.